So many of the people that we talk to today, they're not quite sure about what system integration is and what integration as a topic is. What is it and why is it so important today?
Let's start with integration first. So integration, when we talk about integration, what we mean is that we are integrating people with processes and applications. So one of the most important things when we talk about integration is exactly the kind of people, process, application, the combination, providing automated processes, providing a digital user experience, providing a unified user experience. That is all about integration. When we talk about system integration, then we are going a step further down, because now we are really talking about how to integrate between two systems. So the focus is data exchange between different systems, integrating two systems into a unified process. So the focus on system integration is much more technical. When we talk about integration, there is also a lot of focus on processes, on organization. So you can almost think from an enterprise point of view, enterprise architecture point of view, business process integration is on a higher level, people, processes, applications, but the hard thing is really system integration, the technical one.
So when we're at Distributech, a lot of the utilities we spoke to talked about being prepared. What does that mean, and how does that relate to system integration?
So first of all, I think most of the utilities and most of our partners, they totally understand that the future is going to be real time. That means if you want to be part of the energy transition, you have to be a real-time enabled utility. And that means you have to break up all your silos, because you want to provide integrated processes. You want to provide automated processes, and you want to provide digital services across different systems. So to be part of the energy transition, you must be a real-time enabled utility. And being prepared means breaking up the silos, preparing your applications to be able to be integrated, and also making data available, because it's all about making data available, setting data in context, using the data. And to be prepared means provide an infrastructure, provide an IT landscape where you can do exactly what we spoke about.
And why is that so important today?
When we think 5 or 10 years back, did you have an electrical car? I didn't. Now everybody, at least in Norway, almost has an electrical car. We have much more distributed energy resources. Many people have solar panels at home. So think about you as a utility, and you want to balance the network, the grid today. How can you do it without real-time data? You wouldn't be able to do it. And as we got so many electrical cars, as we have moved into battery storage, distributed energy resources, you need real-time data. So that is the reason why it's so important now. 10 years ago, that was not a topic. Now it's a must.
I get it. But integration has been something that utilities have done in the past. They've used an ESP or they've used point-to-point integration. What do you tell those utilities that have done some sort of integration? What kind of integration are you talking about then that is different to what they've done in the past?
Many years ago, or when we look back only 2 or 3 years ago, there was of course a heavy focus on smart metering. But let's use smart meters as a good example. So when we are deploying smart meters, many utilities think about optimizing the meter to cash value chain, meaning to use the metering data for billing purposes. So you would get maybe 96 values a day, but it doesn't matter if it comes now or in 5 seconds or in 5 minutes. So many of the utilities, as you said, used an ESP. Most of them even used file-based integration. And that was totally all right for them that time. But now we want to use the data from the smart meters in an AMI 2.0 context. We want to use the data. We want to use the data, combine it with sensor data, maybe data coming from IoT devices, and we want to use it in real time. And when I say want to, we must. We must do it because we want to now balance. We want to optimize our resources in the network. So what the utilities did 2, 5, 10 years ago was totally correct that time. But you cannot do the same point-to-point approach today. You cannot do a file-based integration if you want to act on signals coming from your network, and you have to act in real time. That's why utilities need a new infrastructure.
So utilities want to act. Utilities need to be prepared now. How do I get started?
The first thing is to accept there is a change. I think the first and one of the most important things is you have to understand and you have to accept that times have changed. Now it is about real time. Now it is really about providing an IT landscape that is built for real-time data. That means it must be scalable. You want to have dynamic scalability. You need still resilience in the platform. You need high performance. So you must accept that the existing IT landscape is not built for the future, or not for the future, for today's requirement. So first step is to rethink your architecture. And then I think it's a good idea always to find one use case and then implement it. Do not try to establish a platform or backbone and think more from an enterprise perspective. I would always recommend find one use case. Maybe you want to create visibility in the network. Maybe you want to create observability in your grid infrastructure. Use a use case like that. Start implementing, start to do the first step towards real-time data-driven utility. Start in a vertical kind of implementation, but do not spend too much time on establishing a huge architecture framework and guidelines and policies. That is a waste of time. Start with one use case, implement it, and then build from it.
Now, is this something that the IT department has to do on their own, or are there other ways that people can help?
I think the best combination would be business and IT jointly. But let's be fair. System integration, real-time integration, it's hardcore IT. So I think IT has a huge task, a huge responsibility. But on the other side, it makes no sense for IT to build something and then business has no buy-in. So the best thing I think we could do is discussing with business, getting a priority list from business. What are the most important challenges you want to fix? What are the most important use cases? And then IT would implement it. So the combination would, of course, be best.
And I'm sure that our partner network can support in this regard too, system integrators. There may be some consultants that can help as well to lead them down the path of that digital transformation.
Exactly, and there are many examples out there. It's not about thinking and spending a lot of time in finding out potential use cases. It's about talking to partners, talking to system integrators, going to an exhibition, to a conference, and there are so many use cases already implemented. Maybe not in your country, but maybe in Norway, maybe in Denmark, maybe in Sweden, maybe in the US. So it's all about also seeing what is happening in different markets. And I'm quite sure there are so many use cases already implemented where you maybe would think, oh, that is future. No, it's not. Because we are already in this real-time utility world. So there are so many use cases already implemented. Then just get inspired and then do it.
So now I've got my use case in my mind. What should I consider? Are there some key tips that you can offer that, topics to think about, key things to consider?
So one of the things I believe is quite important that when you implement and you do the first steps towards this real-time data-driven utility, I think from an architecture or IT strategy point of view, there are quite some important things to consider. One of the things is build versus buy strategy. So I want to give you an example. If you are the IT director or the chief information officer from a utility, then you should consider which parts do you want to buy, which parts do you want to build. You should never build commodity functionality. What I mean is, as an example, should you build a MDM, a meter data management? No, you shouldn't. There are so many solutions out there and most utilities need a MDM. It's exactly the same with integration. So if you need a modern integration platform, so why would you build it? You are not that special as a utility. So you would normally consider to buy or subscribe to a modern integration platform and then adapt it to your needs. So one of the most important things I think is a clear buy versus build IT strategy, where the focus should be everything that is commodity. In a sense, you shouldn't build yourself. You should use your resources to build the things that are specific for your business. And clearly, a meter data management or an iPaaS, that is not something that is special for you. But you should build the flows, the integrations that are special for you. So that is one of the things. The second thing, what I really believe is, you need a technology that is cloud native and cloud agnostic. Why? Because we talk about real time, we talk about future, we talk about a lot of data, so you cannot start with a legacy platform. So you have to invest in the most modern integration technology, should be event-based, should be containerized, because you need elastic scalability, you need the possibility maybe to move between clouds. You have to solve OT, IT integration challenges, so don't build your integration strategy on legacy technology or legacy architecture principles. So these would be the two most important tips. Have a clear make versus buy strategy, and please do not use legacy technology for your new backbone.
That's good advice. Where can I find some more information about this? Where can I get some insights, some reading materials on this topic?
One good source is, of course, greenbird.com. We are solving data integration challenges. We are solving system integration challenges for utilities since 2010. That is what we are burning for. So one good source is, of course, greenbird.com. But on the other side, there are a lot of good material out there. There are other portals out there. Search for integration, search for iPaaS, search for utility iPaaS. You're going to find a lot of good information, but I think the ultimative source would be greenbird.com.